Hold on.
Located just southwest of Chicago is the Chicagoland Speedway, and this is a very unique 1.5-mile tri-oval. It has a curved backstretch, so really only two kind of straightaways on the front stretch, tagging up the tri-oval part of the track here, but it poses some strangeness for the drivers if it's your first time out here and driving down that backstretch that is just got a little bit of a curve in it, and it's just a little bit funky the first time you're out there, but should be a good one here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, as CRN brings you coverage of the Virtual Velocity Racing Cup Car Series, and we are starting to turn some laps here in the early session of the schedule here, and these guys are starting to get into it here. We already had 4 races on the schedule. Actually, sorry, 5 races on the schedule. No, yeah, 5 races on the schedule. Losing myself here because the Phoenix one being mixed up there, but Phoenix will actually be making its return. It's placed back in the schedule, whatever you want to call it, but it is going to be taking up the open week that was going to be next week. For April 4th, these guys will be on track at Phoenix to kind of make up that race that we missed due to iRacing having the difficulties with the update. But Carl Hamwork in the booth here tonight, joined by Jimmy Cover. Jimmy, this is it's a fun little track. It's fast, and you're wide open a lot here with these Cup cars.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where, you get to run these cars wide open, and you have to, manage your tires, and there's multiple lines here, so almost like an auto club where you can, have or Daytona ISC, where they can run these things wide open, but, multiple lines, multiple racing here, and there's going to be a lot of good racing. Obviously, the big thing that comes into play is, the no fast repair, so the drivers really need to be patient with each other and look for those openings to make those position changes.
Pretty interesting. I mean, you don't think about how much room a racetrack takes up, but just kind of looking at the track facts here for Chicagoland Chicagoland Speedway, and it is 930 acres of land, and to give you an idea of how big that is, you can actually fit 42 United Centers. That is the home of the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Blackhawks. You can fit 42 of their arenas inside the complex here for the Chicagoland Speedway. So very, very big here. And even though it's only a 1.5-mile track, and it's kind of, I don't want to say the cookie cutter, but kind of like the middle of the road for the NASCAR type tracks here with the 1.5-mile tracks. But it's gives you perspective of how big those 2.5-mile tracks are. Your Indianapolis, your Daytona, Talladega, things like that. But these guys are out here on track and taking a look at the points up to this point, as I just of course lost them. So let's talk about that in a little bit here. But talking about the track here again, 18 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. On the front stretch, you got 11 degrees of banking, and then on that curved backstretch, 5 degrees of banking. So never flat here once you get up onto the racing surface. And we'll see what these guys can do out here. There's, there could be some new names that kind of float to the top of the boards here tonight, as we've certainly had a different start to the schedule here with a couple of the 1.5-mile tracks with Atlanta and Las Vegas. But coming off of Auto Club and Milwaukee Mile, these guys get to go back to 1.5-mile racing. But again, a little bit different here at Chicagoland, and we'll see how these guys spread out. Should be a few different lines of racing out there.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's one of those tracks, multiple lines out here, and you'll see some drivers favor the top, you'll see some favor the bottom, and I think it's going to have to deal with a lot with the actual, use my words here, the actual just their grip of their tire and how well they're doing with their tires and be able to manage it. But yeah, there's one of those tracks, and it's one of the tracks I like to get out there and race as well. So but we're watching some of these drivers turn some good laps. Joshua Divers is on top right now with a 29.982, and that's faster than what was during the practice. So but all these drivers all within intense, Carl, for as far as lineup, even during practice.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks where I feel like the majority of the guys, again, it's kind of the middle of the pack road here when it comes to the size of tracks, a 1.5 mile track. So I think you'll see a little bit tighter of a field compared to the last couple of weeks, where at Auto Club you're pretty much wide open the entire time, and you're running very, very fast. And then the race got to pack racing a little bit, and then Milwaukee Mile last week. Even though it's a mile track, it being a little bit flatter of a surface, it almost kind of caters to your short track drivers maybe a little bit more. But through 4 races, we've had one man double up here, and that is Dalton Kilrow, as he won at Atlanta on the opener, and then won last week out at the Milwaukee Mile. But I mean, once again, we've seen kind of the same thing over and over again, and it's been a running theme here. You lead the most laps, you win the race. That's what's happened so far for 4 races for these boys, these drivers out here at the Virtual Velocity Racing Series. But these guys are getting close to the end of qualifying, and yeah, as Jimmy was saying, we got some kind of newer blood at the top, some guys that we're used to seeing start a little bit further in the back. Obviously not everybody in there qualifying yet, but I know we've seen Joseph Grijalva work his way from the back for a couple of races right now, sitting in P number 3, and we see some of the guys that were typically towards the front of the pack, like your Dalton Kilrow back there in P number 10 right now. And not seeing Derek Paulson. I believe he said he may not be here this week, but I could be misremembering that. But some newer names up there: Billy Van Meter, Len McNeese up there towards the top, DJ Mitzel up there. So we'll see what these boys can do here tonight, as should be a good one here. 120 laps on the books.
Yeah, 120 laps of high-flying racing, and I'm sure they're looking to go, greed from start to finish, and that's going to bring that pit stop into play. And hopefully these drivers have practiced that, and they can get these green flag pit stops done, and just put on a great show for everybody out there. And speaking of all the people out there, just want to say thank you for joining us here tonight. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe, and share the video with everybody out there. Get these drivers the recognition that they deserve, and definitely helping out the CRN and putting our name on the iRacing the field out there. As we continue to get requests and stuff to cover different series. But right now we are with Virtual Velocity here tonight at Chicagoland. So qualifying is over, the grid is set, and John Garrett will be our pole sitter here tonight.
Yeah, I want to send a thank you out there to our sponsors here on the series before we get going here, that being Gold Line Guardians, Fort Worth Screen Printing, and Hilton Crafts and Designs. But as Jimmy said, we are done with qualifying. The order is set for the 120 lap race here at Chicagoland I keep wanting to say Super Speedway. Chicagoland Speedway. It's pretty super, I guess. But Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown of the order?
Yeah, John Garrett on the pole, and with the outside being Joshua Divers. Row number 2 will be Tim Williams and Joshua Grijalva. And then row number 3, Ty Marasco and Billy Van Meter. Row number 4, Len McNeese with DJ Mitzel. Row number 5, Gordon Larson and Brandon Mefford. Row number 6 will be Dalton Kilrow with Ryan Allen. And then our next here will be row number 7 with Hilton Young, alongside with Eric Blount, Matthew McMeekin back there in 15th with Mike Taylor on that outside. Chris Schuessler and Chris Moreland back in on road number 8. Row number 10 will be Mike Rideout with Todd Boston. Row number 11, Cade Green with Michael Pratt. Row number 12 will be Ray Radford with Robert Smith, and I believe that is it. So we have 24 drivers out there, Carl, tonight. Nice sized field for these drivers. Plenty of drivers to contend with. It's going to be some great racing. Like I said, the speeds and the times of all the drivers are extremely close tonight. So it could be anybody's race. So if somebody maybe messed up their qualifying, it would not surprise me at all to see somebody come from the back to the front.
Well, it could be anybody's point lead after this one, as well. As you mentioned, points leader Derek Paulson not in the field here tonight. Second place in the points, Dalton Kilrow is 24 points back, and again starting back there, right around the 10th starting spot. Len McNeese is the one in third place in the point standings, 27 in the back of Paulson as he starts himself inside the top 10. And then Joshua Divers starting on the outside pole here. And he's going to be looking to try and close in on that 37-point gap. Ray Courtney making up your top 5. Then you got Brian Dees, Gordon Larson, Joseph Grijalva, Tyler Hilton, and Eric Blunt making up your top 10 in the points, but only 50 points covering your top 10 after 4 races, so still a lot for these guys to get after. Still a long season. Again, this thing stretches out. They got a nice little month buffer in the summertime to take a little bit of a break, so the season actually does stretch all the way to September. But tonight is the night that we'll see if we get another new winner here on the season. Again, 3 different winners over the first 4 races, as Kilroe having 2 of those wins, Paulson with 1 of them, and Robert Kahn, the other driver here for the win. But John Garrett looking to make it another new winner here tonight. He's got the pole, he's on the loud pedal, and we are racing at Chicagoland.
And off they start, John Garrett with a nice start there, coming across the start-finish line as Barney waves him to the green. We head down to turn number 1.
Good start by these boys, and you see by the track map there, it's just a little funky when you look at it. It's almost kind of like an oblong-shaped egg, but they do have a little bit of a curve on the backstretch, and just takes a little time getting used. So you can't just go on the backstretch and hold it straight. And there's a lot of times where you'll see some newer guys to the speedway kind of drift up a little bit, thinking that it's straight, and you're actually drifting up towards the wall, towards that outside guy. But these guys keeping it nice and clean on lap number 1. Battle for the lead. Divers on the outside. Doesn't want to give it away just yet. Garrett on the inside is holding him off right now. But Tim Williams, Ty Marasco, Grijalva make up your top 5. Then you got McNeese, Kilroe, Larson, Hilton Young, and Billy Van Meter.
Yeah, so you can see that obviously the 57 Joshua Divers are using a little higher line right now than John Garrett. Obviously, like I said, the fresh tires. Seems like on fresh tires, you start off a little lower, then as the run goes on, you tend to move a little bit to the higher side. We'll go back in the field a little bit here, focused on Len McNeese, but right behind them, they're 2 wide for a couple of rows back as they battle there up to the 41, 00, the 23, and the 38.
Another man up there in the points, not in the field here tonight, Brian Dees, as he led a good chunk of the race last week and was trying to be the one that led the most laps and won the race, but he unfortunately finished in 10th last week, not in the field here tonight. But a good-sized field, as Jimmy said, 24 guys is a good-sized group, and they're getting at it here a little bit. But out front, we've got a bit of a 3-car breakaway. John Garrett out there kind of a little bit by himself by about a half a second over Tim Williams, who has now moved into second as he's doing some battling there with Joshua Divers. But those 3 have broken away about a second and a quarter over the rest of the field right now, who are still doing battling all over the place.
Yeah, lots of battling going on throughout the field, and obviously drivers using multiple lines, and you kind of wonder if, because of how close these drivers are on as far as lap times and speed, are they pushing the car a little bit too hard early, burning up them tires that are going to be much needed later on. But right now, some just great racing overall for everybody as we continue here on completion of lap 6, as we will be turning we completed lap 5, so 5 laps to get down and all good to go throughout the field.
Speed battling back here just outside the top 10. Looks like it's finally starting to file out here a little bit. Again, these guys don't have a fast repair to spend, so they're going to want to try and keep a little bit of distance in between each other as they do their battling. But all kinds of lines out there right now. It seems like there's kind of a bottom line and like a mid-top line. It seem to be the preferred ones out there, but you can see some guys running that secondary line. And you're making up time depending on where you're feeling comfortable in the car. As you see Mike Taylor in the 98 up there running that high line, and he's not the only one, so we'll see who benefits from it the most. But right now it is John Garrett out front. Tim Williams starting to reel him in here a little bit, as Garrett seems to prefer that middle to top line, and Tim Williams running him down using that lower line. But you start to wonder after a little bit. Well, don't have to worry too much longer as we've got a caution already, but you wonder which line is going to burn up those tires, but we've got a caution already, and involves a driver that started in fourth, that being Joseph Grijalva, as, looks like was about to get split 3 wide there in the middle and just kind of loses the car, gets sideways, spins it, hard impact into the outside wall. That is big hurt there for the 10 and the 23 getting involved as well. Not sure how much Billy Van Meter, how much damage he took there, but that was a good little slap to the side of the car. Actually, that being the 83 of Brandon Medford.
Yeah, and a good save there by Brandon Medford. Taking a little slap there from Joshua Grijalva, and just unfortunate because we've seen some good things out of that out of Joshua Grijalva in these past few races.
Or Joseph, for that matter. But
Joseph, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, am I missing something? Do we have another one here? Is he got a brother? But yeah, that brings us to our first caution here on lap number 9, and Grijalva obviously taking the brunt of the damage on that one. But do you see some guys coming down pit road? I don't think we'll see any tires just yet. It's still plenty early here, but these guys want to come down and top off on fuel. But the man that is in second in the points deciding to stay out there, get a lap lead, and maybe get a few more. As Kilrow is going to stay out there, brings his teammate along, Ty Marasco. He's going to stay out there. Gordon Larson, Eric Blunt, and it looks like Robert Smith are all going to stay out here. Actually, yep, and Robert Smith, I thought Joshua Diver stayed out there, but you see him right here in pit lane. And so who's going to make the run off of pit lane first? It is going to be John Garrett, Tim Williams, Joshua Divers, Matthew McMeekin, and Len McNeese going to make up your top 10. So early caution out here tonight, and just want to thank everybody out there tuning in to VVR and to CRN here as we bring you the coverage here from Chicagoland. And if you haven't done so yet, please hit that like and subscribe. Get you in tune with everything that CRN has to offer and help us get up to that 1,000 mark, as we've got plenty of racing all week long, and it just seems like every other day we're getting asked to do another one. So you could see some new series coming up here on the horizon. We got some special events that are in the works that are be coming up as well. So if you like racing, as I say all the time, this is the place to be.
It was not too long ago, it was always CRN kind of reaching out to individuals or to leagues, seeing if they needed broadcasting coverage for their leagues, and now they're just kind of, by word of mouth and the reputation that we've had as far as being showing up on time, being there for every race, and just putting on some great coverage. Just almost to a point where you got to turn some people around. So. But we try to accommodate for as many people as possible. We have not only me and Carl in the booth, but we have other fellow broadcasters that are out there: Dylan McDonald, John Nobinger, Brandon, and a bunch of others. Joe Sullivan. We've had Avi Mr. Bassam up here in the booth. Derek Sherman. So everybody that's part of the CRN team, just I want to thank them as well, because without them, the team that we have made here and put together is what makes CRN tick. But right now, the guy that's ticking right now is Dalton Kilrow. Decides to not come in for gas and decides to stay out. So we'll see if this pit strategy works out for that number 41 as the pace car is in and we are off as a green flag waves.
Yeah, hammer down for the 41 car, going to bring the 1 and the 00. I believe, I know for sure Ty Marasco is, but I believe the 00 of Gordon Larson also teammates there on the MFRD racing team. And they will enjoy some more sunshine at the front here, as Marasco doing everything he can to push the 41 out there to the lead as they're looking to go 3 wide here. And, to Jimmy's points, without the leagues, there is no CRN. I mean, without something for us to cover, we got nothing. And really, you break it down even further, without these drivers putting on some great races, you guys and gals out there wouldn't be tuning in. You know, if it ends up being a snooze fest or it ends up being a wreck fest, you guys aren't going to want to stick around too much longer. So certainly credit to the leagues that we put on the broadcast for, as they put on some great shows for us. But Kilroe putting on a show right now, stretching out the lead very quickly out to a 1.3 second lead over Ty Marasco, his teammate. Not even waiting around for his teammate. He's off for the races.
Yeah, and like I said, is it obviously it's a little lighter on fuel. I'm gonna go back here because there's some action going on there with the 08. They're getting shuffled around there as the 66 of John Garrett is on a mission to get back to the front. A little bump there to the 1 of Ty Marasco. Gonna basically move him out of the way, and it's that 66 is a rocket ship here tonight as he makes it back into P number 2 to track down Dalton Kilroe.
Well, Kilroe has eliminated 3 of the first 4 races, led at 90 of the laps at Atlanta, and took the win. Then in race number 2, only able to run in the lead for 4 laps and came home in second. And then last week he was the one that led the most laps again, leading 69 laps at the Milwaukee Mile and took home the win. So certainly, again, it's a theme here. You lead the most laps and you win the race. So, I guess that's why you see the differing pit strategies here, and that's why you see the MFRD team wanting to get their cars up there towards the front and lead those laps, because it spells victory.
I mean, obviously benefits of being out front. You get the win, but these cars do handle differently in the clean air. Being out there out front, I think that's sometimes why you see these drivers maybe step out of maybe a line that's where they have that open air in front of them. Maybe it just handling better for them, so the car doesn't get tight through the corners. Where you're putting more wheel into the car, burning off those tires a little bit more, or just actually putting heat. That's not long. But 3 wide back here is the 84. The Western Union machine goes to the outside to get around the 1.
And it's Len McNeese working his way up there, and he's been a man to kind of keep an eye on, especially later in the race. May not play too much of a part early on, but he finds his way up towards the front at the end, as looked like he scraped the wall there a little bit, came down, almost made contact with, I believe that was the 57 of Joshua Divers, but they keep it clean and keep it green right now, is taking aboard Ryan Allen here back in 10th place, trying to find a way inside DJ Mitzel in the 4. But he's going to get passed on the outside by Ty Marasco as they're going back and forth here. And for Marasco, he's one of the guys that stayed out there. He started in second behind Dalton, his teammate, and has really fallen back on this restart here. So not sure if the quick early push there to get Kilroe out into a good lead, maybe burn off those tires on the 1 a little bit.
Yeah, just seems to be having issues with that 1 right now, as working its way through the field. Everybody pushing, on the outside of them or the inside, just depending on what kind of run they can get there. Right now, he's in front of the 00 of Gordon, Larson, and the gang back here. But they're a lot of 2 wide, 3 wide racing back here, mid-pack. As you can see right here, just the Miller Genuine Draft machine, almost looking to go 3 wide with a Viagra machine. I believe that is, Eric Blount. Yep, so Eric Blount down there. Looking to get by the 12 of Chris Moreland.
Yeah, kind of stretched out a little bit at the front, a little bit of single file, but then you get back here to the gaggle of cars from looks like about 14th or 13th on back here, and it's not a fun place to be. I mean, there's good racing and there's battling, but you don't want to get into any kind of a mix-up here this early on in the race, and they are certainly using multiple lines to get through these corners. Right now, the 12 of Chris Moreland on the outside and the 6 Eric Blunt on the inside. These guys battling for 12th place right now. Actually, 13th place. But you see that good group of guys all kind of sitting right here from 12, looks like all the way back to, trying to see how far back that might be, all the way back to 23rd. Yeah, so the good group of guys right here, and then all the way back to 22nd, then 23rd. Ray Radford has fallen off the back of the pack here quite a bit. And trying to see, I don't think, looks like Joseph Grijalva may have retired the car for the evening, or is at least in the pits trying to get some repairs done. I don't see him out there on the track. But Kilroe leads the way. Garrett is in second, trying to run him down, and doing so. Down to about a quarter second here is the gap from first to second over Garrett. McMeekin is now in third as he has gained 12 positions from the start. But the man that was certainly on the move is the man in fifth, and that is the 08 of Robert Smith, starting shotgun on the field. He is now in the top five.
Yeah, and you just might have maybe missed the qualifying, or just did not have the run that he wanted. And like I said, during practice, the drivers were putting getting lap times that were so close, Carl. I mean, hundreds between these drivers, and like I said, it was kind of I don't know who's going to win tonight. We're 25 laps in, only one caution so far. Colin Kilroe's out front over John Garrett, Michael McMeekin, Tim Williams. Back here in fifth place is Robert Smith, as we were talking about. And then behind him have Joshua Divers, Billy Van Meter, Ryan Allen, DJ Mitchell, Len McNeese, Hilton Young, Gordon Larson, Eric Blount, Chris Moreland, Michael Pratt is in 15th. Todd Hotston is in 16th. Mike Taylor, Kay Green, Ty Marasco all the way back here in 19th spot. So having issues with that one car here tonight. Right now, the 83 of Brendan Medford is in 20th. And Mike Rideout, Chris Schuster, Ray Radford, and Joseph Grijalva back there in 24th. Whether he's in the pits or just maybe calling it a night. Maybe just sustained too much damage to put up a fight here tonight.
And a reminder, these guys don't have a fast repair, so if he had some terminal damage there, it is going to be a long night of repairs, or maybe just calling it a night for Halva in the 10. But Robert Smith certainly having a better night here tonight than he did last week at Milwaukee Mile, finishing back in 26th and only able to complete 8 laps there last week. And he's almost 20 more than last week already, and inside the top 5, running P5th. There you go. There's some words for you. English is hard.
I agree.
But it is everybody chasing Dalton Kilroe right now. Again, just like last week, Kilroe putting in a bunch of time at the front, and it's been the formula for success twice, so why not make it a third time here as he looks to take down another win here and grab the points lead from his teammate Derek Paulson. Again, not in the field here tonight, but these guys have a nice little run now as we are on lap number 28 of 120.
Pretty good shots throughout the field, where their drivers being able to drive multiple lines and just work these cars around here at Chicago. And it's not like, I think throughout most of the leagues, Carl, that I've covered, this is not like doesn't seem to be I know they like coming here, but it doesn't seem to be like a popular track.
No, and I believe I thought I seen that NASCAR was going to come back to Chicagoland, but I know they stopped going there in 2019. So it's not even necessarily popular in real life anymore. I mean, even IndyCar used to come here. I'm not sure if they come here anymore, but it's a unique track, and I think the fact that there's quite a few 1.5 mile tri-ovals out there, that it could be why they tend to use some of the other ones. Like, for me, if I had a choice between here and say Las Vegas, I'm going Vegas. Even Kentucky to me just kind of feels like a little bit better of a tri-oval type track. And then obviously you got the 1.5 mile quad ovals, which are just about the same as we had a car down there on the apron that just snuck back up onto the track.
That's Robert Smith.
On who that might be, and that was Robert Smith. So not sure what exactly happened there for the 08, but all that good work just gets blown away, and he is falling back pretty hard here. So we'll take a look back here and see if we can see anything in particular. I caught the apron there a little bit, but that shouldn't have done anything right there.
Oh, maybe he was trying to come in. We go back there one more time so he can the 8 of Robert Smith, but yeah, he was in the pits there, I believe.
Well, he wasn't in the pits. He might have been trying to come into pits.
Yeah.
But yeah, that did not work out. Yeah, now he is in pit lane. As we're starting to see some of the guys that stayed out now make their pit stops. Dalton Kilrow and Ty Marasco, Gordon Larson in the pit lane as well. So that's going to hand the lead back over to John Garrett in the 66 as he looks to try and sneak out here, get some good laps in here before these guys that came into the pits can capitalize and really start to turn some good laps. I see some smoke there, but it looks like maybe somebody's just locking up coming into pit lane. As we got some more guys coming in, as Eric Blunt in the pits this time by.
Yeah, so Eric Blount being the last of the drivers that did not come in. And like I said, it's it's obviously you see where they're coming in. They're coming in at lap 30. Well, Eric Blount's coming in at lap 34. So about 34 laps, which are make this about 9 more laps or so for these drivers. Or I'd say maybe 7 or 8 because of the green flags, but or through the yellow flag. But gonna break it up just a little bit. Could throw the ties off. As there's gonna be multiple stops here tonight. I know they don't run full fuel. I don't know if it's I think it's 40%.
Yeah, certainly not a lot in the tank here for the drivers here at VVR, and they are pitting mighty early here. I mean, 33 laps in. Granted, some of those laps were run under caution, so maybe you can stretch it out there to around 35, 36 if it were. Actually, sorry, the other way around. It's probably closer to to the 30 lap mark. So these guys are going to be having to pit probably at least 2 more times out here, especially even the guys that are still out there that pit on lap number 9. They'll obviously be able to stretch it out a little bit more here, but they'll be coming in pretty soon here, probably closer to lap number 40. But it is John Garrett out there to about a half-second lead over Matthew McMeekin in second. Tim Williams back there, another second behind in third place. Billy Van Meter, Ryan Allen, your top 5. Divers, Mitzel, McNeese, Austin, and Pratt making up your top 10.
Yeah, so the driver, I think that is not gonna be able to make up for that. Just I guess a bad pit entry there for the 8 of Robert Smith, and that's gonna cost him a lot because he missed the pit lane and had to go around one more time, and he made it to the pits, but that lost time slowing up is definitely gonna hinder his chance to get back up there front once the rest of these drivers come down. But you can see right now, if I go ahead and I pull up the tower here real quick for everybody, I pull up the gap, and a caution is out.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
And that's just what I was getting to, where they were at the point of being able to make that back. But Dalton Kilrow is going to make out on this one. He's going to be the lucky dog. Let's see, the caution is out. Let's scroll down and see what happened.
And while you're doing that, this has been a few laps since the caution, so Dalton Kilrow is certainly going to be happy that he is the lucky dog. As the 38 comes down, maybe a little netco, but the 38 definitely came down to the 19 there. But these guys that came in the pits on lap 32, 33, they are a lap down, and they're kind of stuck that they need to stay out there and take that wave around to get back on the lead lap and join the rest of the field. But they're certainly going to be hampered here. They're going to have all these guys coming in, getting a free pit stop, and possibly getting tires here as well. So we'll see what the entire field does. But all those guys that are down 1 lap aren't going to be able to come in at this time by. They'll be able to come in next time if they choose not to take a wave around. But I think you'll probably see everybody line up behind that pace car to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, so the Dalton Kilrow, the 41, obviously taking his dog, getting around, and we'll see if he decides to come back in. I'll just go ahead and pull up the pit stops, pit laps. You guys can see when they last pitted, and they're still about around that time. The other drivers are probably getting ready to come in now, but this is going to shorten those laps needed or pits needed. So will Dalton Kilrow come back in to be on the same strategy and allow the drivers behind him to get their lap back, or is, since he's the lucky dog, are they going to be trapped, or are they in front of him?
In front of... they should all be in front of the leader, Tim Williams, here, and they should be able to get their wave arounds.
Yes, that is the case.
Let's just try to look through the field here. Yeah, it looks like... Well, we do have one of the guys come into pit lane. I believe that was Ty Marasco. So Marasco is, I think, you kind of got two strategies here. You want to get back on the lead lap, but you know, if you're the only one a lap down and you got those fresh tires, at least you can keep up with everybody, and you will be the lucky dog next time by. So, just different strategy here for the number one team, and I don't think it's that bad of a strategy. That the rest of the field here are going to stay out and get their wave around. Obviously, the one benefiting the most here is going to be the 41 of Dalton Kilbro, as he's going to come in here again, top off on fuel, and get that machine back out there. He's definitely going to have a lot of cars he's going to have to fight through here. Looks like he's going to be lining up in 17th. But it's going to be Tim Williams at the front, Joshua Divers, Ryan Allen, Len McNeese, and Matthew McMeekin, your top five.
Yeah, so, looks like, the position gains and changes were, made on pit road. Go ahead and show you their, let's see pit lane time. So, you can see how long they were down in pit lane, and 1 second, 1.5 second difference there for Tim Williams. And then I'll go ahead and show you their actual pit stall time. You can see that Tim Williams and Joshua Divers both there right around 8.6, 8.8 seconds. So the time gained was down pit road. So you can see Kay Green standing there a little bit longer, Hilton Young with a 1 minute and 32 second stop. They basically, if they gotten any damage, it's, the time that they can get it repaired, time that they can get these cars back to top notch, and hopefully iRacing mechanics or crew in there can do right for the drivers and get those cars top notch back out on the track and back up to full speed.
So we are on lap 42. We are past the 1/3 mark here in the race. So still got a good amount of racing here to go. 2/3 of the race, or 79 laps for those that are counting to the end here. So plenty of running here yet. It's going to be very close if these guys can try and stretch it out. I don't think you can make it on just one more pit stop. I think everybody's going to have to come in for at least a splash and dash at the end if this thing were to go green the rest of the way. So we got some interesting strategies certainly to play out before this thing is over, and never know if we get cautious breeding cautious here. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get back to green flag racing. As the pace car lights are off, he is making that left-hand turn into pit lane right now. It's in the hands of Tim Williams, and he is on the loud pedal, and we are racing again at Chicagoland Speedway, not Super Speedway. Got it right for once.
Chicagoland Speedway, as it's posted on the wall right there, as we got Tim Williams out in the lead.
Very close there, battling up through the field, trying to see who that is. Looks like that was Billy Van Meter on the inside, or Michael Pratt it might have been, but got very close there, diving up the inside. And these guys certainly don't mind getting a little racy here on the restarts, but going to start filing out here. Tim Williams is going to lead this lap here, but Len McNeese trying to work that outside around Joshua Divers to grab second, and these guys are running right behind your leader right now. And now McNeese looks to go battle for second. Forget that. I want to take the lead.
Yeah, so 84 out front right now as he makes the pass on the outside. You see the 77 with a great run of Michael Pratt, and get up there close to the wall, hang on to it, try to follow the 84's lead as he comes side by side there with Matthew McMeekin.
Yeah, Pratt's got places to be. He was the one that got very close to making contact on the inside on that restart, and he's got some fresh tires. He's trying to make it work. McNeese does not. He has got some older tires right now, so the fact that he got up there and got to lead that quick, very impressive. But Now these guys that have those fresh tires are going to start eating them up, and you already see it. You see Matthew McMeekin now, the new one, out to the lead, and Pratt getting held up a little bit on the outside, but we've seen him use the inside. We've seen him use the middle. I'm sure we'll see him use the outside. He certainly scraped the wall a little bit. At one point, dives through the middle again through 1 and 2. Keeps it just to the outside of DJ Mitzel, and he's going to move himself into second place. But Mitzel trying to fight back on the inside, using that side draft. But again, I think Pratt's got places to be, and that place might be at first place.
Yeah, he's trying to get that number 77 up to the front as he works that outside of DJ Mitzel as we're watching this battle here unfold and trying to we got some good racing throughout the field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide all the way back here around Chris Moreland. Oh, and you see the that was
66 there in the wall. John Garrett, your pole sitter here tonight, having some trouble back here in the field, and he is 3 wide, just trying to keep it together, trying to find a way through as they are getting racy and dodgy back here in the back. And it's kind of tough because it seems like the high line is definitely a good fast line. You get a good launch off the corners, but these guys have been sliding up a little bit and scraping that wall, and with no fast repair to lean on, you really get scared doing that, because all it takes is one little bump, you get some wheel damage, and you're going to have some major repairs and possibly some required repairs that are going to make you come into the pits in the next couple laps. So you don't want to mess around too much up there at the top wall, even though it may be the fast line. But out in front, McMeekin trying to stretch out, but he has got a little bit of a trailer right there with Michael Pratt not letting him go. These guys have broken away by about a second over DJ Mitzel in third and Todd Poston in fourth. Those guys have broken out a second from the rest of the field, led by Billy Van Meter, Cade Green, John Garrett, Chris Schuessler up in the top 10. And you got Len McNeese and Mike Rideout now making his way up in the top 10 as well.
There's just great driving all around up throughout the track, and they're really racy at the moment as we're starting to close in on that halfway mark. We're out lap 50 of 120. Obviously, Matthew McMeekin out front over Michael Pratt. It seems like those two drivers are on a mission to kind of pull away just a little bit, about a half a tenth of a second, kind of separate them two. But BJ and Mitzel another half a second back, and then back to Todd Potston, and then I think this was basically your next little gaggle. But John Garrett recovering from being tied up, a little scrape of the wall earlier on, just a few laps ago, but now all the way back up to Pete, number 6.
Looks like some issues for Robert Smith, and he has come into pit lane. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he had a little off-track excursion.
What happened here? We're still green.
And now it looks like he tried to come into pits again, just not working. Pit entry not working out for Robert Smith here tonight. And there's going to be a penalty coming in there, but pretty amazing. And Jimmy, not sure if you can bring it out while I'm talking about it here, but you take a look at the top 10, and everybody but John Garrett has advanced positions from the start. You got Matthew McMeekin up 14, Michael Pratt up 20, DJ Mitzel up 5, Todd Poston up 16, Billy Van Meter only up 1, but still up 1, and you see all that green right there. And then the next guy we talk about, Kid Green, he was up 13, Chris Schuessler up 10, Mike Rideout up 10. I mean, it's pretty crazy that everybody inside the top 10 right now, most of them started outside the top 10.
Yeah, and it just kind of goes to show you, I mean, race pace and qualifying are two separate animals. You know, some people really want to start well, because that usually leads to, being out front early. And, if this thing goes green, you're more than likely going to finish well. But with the pit stops and the cautions coming into play, you've seen right there, you've seen Robert Smith trying to enter in the pits. And not quite nailing it, slowing down early enough to get down in the pits. It can really throw your game off. So Robert Smith was running up front, having a great run, and then because of the caution flag and the missed pit entry, it really, like I said, it really can throw your game off there. So a tough break for the 08, as he was having a great run early on, but now he's going to have to work his way back to the field, maybe catch some cautions if they were to come out. There's still plenty of racing left as we're not quite to the halfway mark, but these drivers back here in 6th, 7th, and 8th having some great battles here. 61-23, the 66, the 19 of Cade Green, Mike Rideout, and Chris Moreland just all battling out. As you see Chris Moreland going down to the very bottom, trying to get a run on these drivers, but they're looking like to go 3 wide. So if I'm following a bunch of drivers and they're 3 wide, I'm more than likely just going to try to maintain control of my car and save my tires. So when it all finally gets sorted out, but maybe I can make a pass as well. But up front right now, leading the way is Matthew McMeekin and the number 29, followed by the 77 of Michael Pratt.
Yeah, Robert Smith, feel free to blame us for this race here, as it seemed like as soon as we start talking to you, is when we're talking about you up in the top 5 running very well, is when the issue started happening. Obviously 2 issues, both for entering pit road, and it goes back to something we talk about every race, and I know we're beating a dead horse, but pit road means a lot. It may not mean everything. You're still going to need some kind of speed out there on the track, but there's so much time you can gain, and unfortunately in this case, so much time you can lose just when it comes to pitting. And it's something that you need to take some time and practice. Every pit lane is different. Every entry is different. Every time you come off of that track, you know, your tires are going to be worn a different amount, and you got to figure out how to get that thing wound up in time while also trying to maximize as much speed to that line as possible. And unfortunately, bit Robert Smith here tonight a couple times. But McMeekin is your leader here by about a half a second over Michael Pratt. These guys have stretched out quite a bit here, as they are about almost 3 seconds ahead of DJ Mitchell in third, who's still got Todd Poston right behind him, and then those guys are about 2.5 seconds ahead. So we've got some major breakaways, and so much for this race being a little bit close. This thing is, you know, 2 cars at the front, 2 cars in third and fourth, a little group there from about 6th on back, or actually 5th on back to 10th place. And then another 5-second gap to get to 11th place, Joshua Divers. And Divers, another one that we've seen at the front of this race, starting in 2nd place, is now outside the top 10 and quite a ways away from top 10.
Yeah, I mean, 5 seconds is a pretty big gap, and and they're battling. So back here, and let's see, the 13th place with Dalton Kilroy trying to lead the way. Making their way up front, trying to run down Len McNeese, so they can hopefully start running down those top 10. Maybe hoping that somebody has a bad pit stop, another caution comes out, whatever it may be. But these drivers have been, they've had some nice long green flag runs. Obviously a couple cautions here, and that type of thing happens with people being as competitive as they are. But it's just overcoming those situations and trying to get your car back in a position, where you're going to have a good finish. But right now, the guy looking to have a great finish right now is the number 29 of Matthew McMeekin.
I think taking a look at the last pit stops could certainly tell the story of what happened here and why there's the big gaps. And that being that the top 10 are all on fresh tires. Michael Pratt possibly on maybe just two fresh tires, probably the right side tires. But then from 11th on down, no tires, at least on that pit stop. Not sure if they took one on the previous pit stop, but that would explain why they have fallen back so quickly. I mean, you take a look, the 57 of Joshua Divers just entering turn 1, when the field in front of him in the top 10 are exiting turn 2 already. So, I mean, he's a full corner behind the group in front of him, but they're getting a little bit close, and there is some contact on the front stretch. We'll see if the 61 of Schuessler can save it, and it looks like he will. But now he is right in the middle of the track, and the field is coming, and they're going to split him. Inside and outsiders are going all over the place. The 61 gets back up to speed. We will stay green here, as no contact on the wall or anything like that, and just a little slide sideways. And iRacing and the Emmons deeming that was not caution worthy. So I like it. Let's get back to racing here, and we'll see if the 64 can start making some moves and work his way back up through this field. He is one that has new tires. Now we'll get to see how the new tires look alongside these guys with not new tires.
Yeah, just go back to see what happened. Chris Schuler's point of view above. They were kind of going down into the corner here. It looked like a little bit. They're close there.
Very close.
Just a little bit of net code.
Yeah, 19 drifting up a little bit, but definitely about at least a half a foot of net code in between him and the 61 there. With Schuler back behind the 8 bubble. We got some pit stops starting here. Gordon Larson and Ray Allen. Oh, yeah, Ray Allen. Listen, one...
Ray, Ryan.
It's
the N, move the A around.
Too damn close. I mean, I know I got some issues with some guys in CSRL on Wednesday nights having damn near the exact same name. But with Jason Potts and Jason Potter. But yeah, Ray Allen, Ryan Allen. Either way, they made it into the pit stop here, and they were the first ones to make what is probably going to be one of the last 2 pit stops. I don't think these guys, again, can make it on just one more pit stop, so we'll see when the mass entrance comes into play here. See if the short pit works out here for the 00 and the 87. Just trying to work their way back up through the field here a little bit, but out front by still a good margin, as now McMeekin is stretching out on Michael Pratt. He's out there to a 1.5 second lead. Darnley Pratt in the distance here. Pratt has got about a 1.5 second lead over Mitzel, and then very close right behind is Todd Poston for 4th. But this field is certainly spread out here, and I think these guys up front would love if this thing goes green all the way.
Yeah, I'm sure you would get no complaints about the leaders staying green, but that means they need to nail their pit stops. And, you know, I mention it a lot because I know how important it is. Of all the leagues that I broadcast, I've seen races lost because of, you know, the driver needing to pit before the end of the race. And if you don't get that practice in, it's something that's overlooked, and there's no real guide on, like, you know, how you should enter pit road. When, you know, it's all about how you feel when you're, you know, getting low on fuel. And if you're a driver that, like, adjusts your brake bias, you know, moving it backwards, and you know, if you get heavy on the brakes and the brakes biased is backwards, you know, that's basically to the rear of the car will spin. It won't, you know, slow down and more in a straight line. So we have to adjust. You have to remember to adjust that, and then finding that point on the track where, you know, you need to apply the brakes, you need to turn down, and it really does change. And you're not going to get that effect. You know, it's different coming in on fresh tires than it is on worn tires or hot tires. So it's something that you really truly need to spend probably more time practicing than people will realize. And it's, you know, the easiest place to make a pass or lose spaces on a track during a race.
Sounds like Mike Rideout slowing his ride down here for pit lane, and that's exactly what he's going to do, as these boys here at the front starting to come into the pits as the top 6 pitting that time by. Dalton Kilrow, the one that was lucky dog on that last caution, is now going to stay out, and he's going to inherit the lead, as he did come in and top off a second time under that caution. So he's going to have a little bit longer that he can make it out here, maybe a lap or 2 compared to everybody else, but he is kind of out there by himself. Everybody else looks like they have come into pit lane to make their pit stop, and with a good, you know, 48.5, 49 laps to go at this point is definitely not going to happen with just this pit stop. They're going to need one more, but Kilrow now going to come in on the very next lap here to kind of get back in the same cycle as everyone else. And this should take us through, as you see everybody's pit stops there. It's going to take us through our cycle of pit stops, and looks like Matthew McMeekin going to be back out front, but Todd Poston with a very good pit stop right there. And I mean, the top 2 guys only taking fuel. Looks like 3rd place Michael Pratt maybe taking right side tires again. Now going to move himself back around on the inside as He's certainly getting a little racy here tonight, but he's going to move himself back into second place here around that top post and then trying to run down Michael Pratt now, but he has got about a quarter second to do so as these guys have all kind of reeled in your leader as, if I'm not looking at the right thing, oh yeah, sorry, he has taken the lead. Matthew McMeekin was one of those guys there. I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm trying to look back and forth here, and yeah, Michael Pratt is using those new tires to his advantage, and interesting strategy here, Jimmy. I mean, these guys only have a certain amount of tires over the wall, and depending on when you take them could be very big. These guys only have 3 sets of tires in the race, and I think Pratt is deciding that he wants to take his tires right now. He wants to try and stretch out as big a lead as he can because he knows that the whole field is going to have to come in again, but it's probably only going to be a splash and go. So if he can get out there and get a big enough lead, maybe those 2 new tires or the 4 new fresh tires that these guys are going to take on the next pit stop aren't going to be enough.
Yeah, I mean, the splash and go, depending on how much fuel you need. Right now, they're working on that 30-ish, 35 laps. So I'm wondering if we're going to see a short pit by anybody. Maybe if somebody that already took left side tires, maybe taking like a splash and go early, grabbing some right side tires, getting back out there. So they max or minimize time on pit lane or in your pit box. We'll see as things unfold, but a caution could throw this thing to the wind. And right now, they'd still, if they came in right now, they'd still need to stop again. So we already know the drivers are going to need to make one more stop. We're not in that window to go all the way. The pit stops for the most part. If I bring it up here, you can see the pit laps of everybody. Robert Smith is the only one that was out at lap 50, so he should be coming in here shortly. But obviously, maybe trying to catch that that caution. Well, actually, it's 10 laps down. So, but Mike Taylor would love a caution right now. Yeah, he needs a few cautions. Mike Taylor, Cade Green, battle one back there. Go back to Mike Taylor and back there in the 98. He was running some really good times during practice. So maybe a pit entry issue. Putting him a lap down there. If you have a speeding coming into the pits, 40-second hold. That's a lap here. And when you're already losing a lap coming into the pits as it is, a 40-second hold is going to put you another lap down. So I'm pretty sure that's maybe the case there for the 98. But was watching the 98 during practice and putting in some great times. And just to see him back here, probably just not what Mike wanted to have tonight. So I don't know, maybe the lucky charms holding him back there.
So, Jimmy, as I like to do, I'm going to put you on the hot seat here. You've seen the race so far. We've had a couple cautions, but it's been a nice little green flag run here. You know that you need to come in and take a splash and go. Maybe you're going to take right side tires. Maybe you're going to take four tires, but you know you're going to have to come in and at least get that splash and go. What is your idea? Are you going to come in a little bit early if you're taking those 2 tires? You're going to come in early as soon as you kind of get in that pit window that you can get enough fuel to the end? Or are you riding this thing out in the hopes or the thought that maybe another caution late may come out here and you don't want to get caught with your pants down?
Well, it really depends on my tire situation over the wall. If I only have one more set to change, I might stretch it out just a little bit, and then obviously after I get to the point of where I can make it all the way. Because if you pit too early, my thought is that you take your tires, you start burning them up, then a caution flies within the last 30 laps of the race, the remaining of the race. You're kind of you go to the wayside because you're not going to have new tires anymore. Everybody's going to come in, everybody's going to be bunched up, they're going to take the new tires, everybody's going to go around you. There's really a thought like how many tires are kind of like behind or over the wall right now. Because I want the drivers saving tires. Am I saving? Ooh, that was a hard hit there by DJ Mitchell as we're talking about tires and cautions. But able to keep it going straight. Yeah, it's car. I want to come in early. I want to get it done. I want to get it out of the way. And there's another part of me is like, just let me stretch this thing out. Maybe depends on who's coming in. Is anybody doing it? Are going to do the same strategy and coming in at that point where they can make it the rest of the way? They're coming up on it right now. They're at 30 or 37 laps remaining. So I mean, we'll see in the next 5 laps who is going to come in and take that challenge of coming in and taking the tires. But, you know, they just got these tires, and if I switch here to the pit lap time, they just got these tires on lap 70. These tires are not very old.
They didn't, though. Only about half the field did, and a lot of the other field just got a fuel only on that one. So, I mean, it brings into play, like, how are you feeling with the tires? And that's kind of a big thing, because the way I look at it is, if you're deciding on taking 2 tires, if you come out there with 2 tires on the right, a lot of times it is going to be sketchy loose for those first couple laps, because those tires on the inside, those left side tires, you know, could be down in, you know, the 70 or 80% range from this run that you've just had this entire time, where those brand new tires on the outside are going to want to catch up and pass those tires, and that's where the car is going to get wicked loose for the first couple laps till you kind of even them out a little bit. If you run that entire length, if you run the fuel all the way down. But if you come in early and, you know, maybe you come in and those tires are only at, you know, 85%, maybe 87%, it's not going to be that much difference from the outside tires to the inside tires, and it's not going to be as sketchy loose, and you can turn some better times quicker. But you run the risk of, like you said, you take those last set of tires, a caution comes out, you're pretty much doomed if you're even on the lead lap yet, or battling for that lead lap. Everybody's going to come in and take those fresh tires, and you're kind of done for. So it's a gamble either way, and that's why it's in the hands of these drivers. And, you know, most of them, as we've talked about before, they are their own crew chief. They don't have anybody in their ear. They may have some teammates kind of talking strategy and helping each other out, but they need to make all of these decisions on the fly while they're behind the wheel, while they're trying to hit their marks every time, while they're trying to make a pass, while they're 3 wide. A lot going on inside the car, a lot going on inside these drivers' heads.
Yeah, tons out there, you know, and if you're, you know, a driver out there and lucky enough to have a good friend, a family member, somebody you met through iRacing to, you know, come out here and watch you every race and be basically your virtual spotter, you know, doing basically what we're doing, you know, giving you a bird's eye view, more than likely from, like, behind the car, you know, giving them whether they're clear, you know, and then kind of feeding that driver information that the crew chief would be giving them, or a spotter would be giving them at an actual race. And it is a difficult task. They do have a program out there, you know, it's called Crew Chief. You know, it's okay. You know, that does feed you a lot of information. It can do a lot of automatic stuff for you. They have voice commands for them, like, you know, you can change your fuel, change your tires, whatever it may be. But you still need to make that thought process. You know, you don't have somebody there that assists you with your decision making. So it's all on these individual drivers to get out here and perform and make decisions. And, you know, the one who does the best in all those categories usually comes out the winner. So I know a lot of times, you know, especially, you know, I tend to run mostly endurance races or events through iRacing, and I really, you know, rely and count on that on the few guys that are watching to be calling out where cars are at, and especially with the introduction of the rain system that iRacing has put into play. You know, now it's now the track sweat. Now I need different compound of tires. When you're driving in the rain, there's so much spray behind the vehicles, or it is extremely hard to see. So having that bird's eye view, somebody with this top view, calling out what's going on in front of you, you know, and you're not going as fast. Your braking points change. Heck, your driving line changes. So say you're, you know, here tonight, you're running the high line the whole time, and then it starts raining. The line might not be the high side no more. It might be the bottom line. So, you know, rain's not really too much of a factor with the ovals. I don't think we'll see a rain race anytime soon on an oval. But you never know. I guess you never know what a league might decide to do. But as of right now, we're at 91 laps, so I think we're in that window right now to see our drivers start coming in.
And
so
exactly what we're seeing.
Yep, Todd Potston, Matthew McMeekin, DJ Mitchell, all deciding to come in. Ty Marasco back there coming in. But Michael Pratt's still out to a pretty good commanding lead. I'll go ahead and throw up the gap so you can kind of see the distance, well, I'll put intervals so you can see the distance between each driver. He has an 11-second lead over Dalton Kilroe, but he's going to give that up right now and come down into the pits here on lap 92.
So final pit stops are starting here, and Dalton Kilroe is going to take over the lead now as Michael Pratt in the pits, Billy Van Meter in second, Gordon Larson up to third, and I mean, we've seen that 00 up there at the start of one of these restarts and get really, really shuffled back between him and Ty Marasco. But now the 00 has worked itself back up into third. Granted, we're in the midst of pit cycles here, but this thing is coming down towards the end. We are on lap number 93 of 120, and now the 00 making that left-hand turn. And I think this is this is my call. This is my preferred call. Is I want to come in earlier as opposed to later. If the caution comes out, it happens. You know, I don't want to get caught out there, you know, late in the run, and all of a sudden I get run over at the end of the race. I'd rather try, or I should say, you know, get run over because the caution comes out. It is what it is. I want to get out there. I want to plan on this thing going green, and I want to have some good fresh tires, try and pick up some positions, and then just defend my butt off to the end, because those guys are probably gonna have some better tires than me at the end. But right now, Kilroe, Van Meter, Mefford, Divers, and McNeese are your top 5 yet to come into the pits. Blunt comes in from inside the top 10 as we've got 26 laps to go here. And Jimmy, as we start this pit cycle, I think it's about time to crank these drivers up here, turn the mics off, and give everybody a little love to hear it.
Good shout there to Mike Eden there. He said he was waiting for this race. He can't believe that he missed the race and that he's actually in the series. So sorry you missed the race, Mike, and a shout out to you. And obviously everybody else out there talking you know, about their drivers. If there's somebody that I haven't caught because of such great racing all over and you like to see how they're doing, give us a shout out there on the YouTube, and on all. Try to get over to your favorite driver to see how they're doing. You got Billy Van Meter, but to get, like Carl said, to get this thing rocking and rolling, we're going to go ahead and crank these drivers up and allow you to enjoy the sights and sounds of Just iRacing. With a little bit of, I love to hear it. sights and sounds of race cars is just something none to other, I guess. And I guess all the tracks that I've been to in the past, and even currently, I've only got the smaller tracks these days, local boys. But just the sounds is just it gives you an adrenaline rush. So try to share that a little bit with the fans out there, and also you've seen here towards as we were just giving out the sights and sounds, of a few drivers finally coming in for their final pit stops. But right now, as all the pit stops have kind of been completed, Michael Pratt is out the lead over Matthew McMeekin by 5 seconds. So does Matthew McMeekin have enough in his car to close down that gap here in the last 14 laps?
I'll set the scene for you. This thing has gone over 100 laps at this point, 14 to go, and it's looking like it's going to be a two-horse race. We talked about Michael Pratt took the pit stop last time by and took at least 2 tires that we know of. Maybe it took 4, but I think it was only 2 tires. But this pit stop, he didn't have any tires left, so he had to take a splash and dash. It ended up being about an 8-second pit stop, where the rest of the field had those tires that they could take. So McMeekin in second with 4 fresh tires with 20 to go. The lead was out to about 9 seconds. With now 13 laps to go, it is down to 4 seconds. McMeekin is closing in. The question is, when are the tires going to even off? Because at a point, the big gaps that you're gaining, those big chunks of seconds that you're gaining, eventually starts to even out. So the question is, can McMeekin get to Pratt before that happens, or is he going to be able to overtake the 77 and maybe grab this win here in Chicagoland? 12 laps are going to decide this thing.
He's got some distance here to, obviously a few laps to make up this time. 12 laps don't seem like much. Next 6 minutes we're going to decide our winner here. As long as they keep it green, go ahead and put it on interval so you can see the distance between your favorite drivers and where they're at. But that lead is diminishing as we're down to a 3.2 second lead as McMeekin is running down Michael Pratt by about a half a second each lap. So that would be, let's see, 6 laps. So, within, 4 to 5 laps to go, we could be seeing a battle for the lead at the current rate of closure. So we'll see how this battle turns out. But we're going to go back here to P6 with Gordon Larson and see what the drivers are doing back here. As there's a good battle back here, 4 to 6, 7 to 8.
Larson to the inside to the top 5 around the blunt as he's trying to make those tires from lap 95 really pay off as he came in. He's one of the later cars to come into the pits, so he's got some fresher tires than everybody else, passing Eric Blunt right there, who pit on lap 94, so just a little bit fresher tires. But actually, sorry, looking at the wrong one. Larson has pit on lap number 93, but the man passing him right now, Dalton Kilroe, pit on lap 102. So he has got the freshest tires in the field right now and trying to put him to work here, as he's got quite a bit to catch your leader, and he has now moved himself into 5th place, but he is a good about 10 seconds adrift of the lead, and he's going to have to make some big end-rows to try and catch him. But Matthew McMeekin is the closest one. He is now down under 2 seconds to the lead. You've seen it when Jimmy had the stats up there. He was gaining and gaining and gaining every lap. But the amount that he was gaining was getting smaller each time. It was 0.7 of a second, then 0.5 of a second, 0.3 of a second. So he's still gaining on Pratt. But the gap between the times is getting smaller and smaller. So he's got to get there. He's got to get there quick. You see on lap 110, he was able to gain a good chunk, but other than that, it's smaller and smaller each lap. 7 laps to go. As long as he can keep it on a 0.3 of a second gain each lap, he should be able to get there with a couple laps to go and a chance to get the win here. But Pratt is now past the lap car, and he sets his sights on the white and checkered flag. It can't come soon enough for him, but he's got to wait another 6 laps this time by.
Yeah, and that gap is getting smaller and smaller as we right on board on top of that number 29 machine. It was put on a pretty good show here in the later half of this race, and Michael Pratt is just hoping that his tires, the 29's tires, just utilize, and hopefully he's saving enough tire to defend Matthew McMeekin. As we're on 6 laps to go. This time by here, we will be down to 5 laps to go, with just over a second a lap remaining. So that time, you can see, like Carl was talking about, the time made up per lap is just getting slower or lower and lower, down to only 0.2. So I do think Matthew McMeekin is going to be, it's going to be.
He's got to get more than 0.2 of a second here to get this thing done. It's down to under a second right now, but it's also down to 4 laps to go this time by. Pratt doing everything he can and making this track as short as possible. But 0.2 of a second a lap is not going to do it. You see it, 0.246, 0.19, 0.225, 0.193, 0.186, getting smaller each time. Still gaining good chunks of time, but time is running out. 4 laps to go. You see the lap car moving out of the way now. It is a 2-horse race, 3 laps to go at the line. Pratt and McMeekin dueling it out here for the win at Chicagoland. Poston, Kilrow, Ben Mader, your top 5, and then you got Larson, Medford. Actually, not Medford over Larson, Blunt, Garrett, and McNeese, your top 10. But all eyes on the front 2 right now. Pratt making the early stop 4 tires, and McMeekin taking those tires on the last pit stop. And you see right there, McMeekin doing everything he can to get in the mirror of that 77. He's now inside of drafting range. You see him gain just a little bit more time. That time by 2 laps to go.
That's gonna be close. Mike is gonna do everything possible to hold on in that number 77, and Matthew McMeekin just needs to push that 29 as hard as he can. He's trying to grab that draft, and you see Michael Pratt just doing just a little bit, making things maybe a little bit more difficult as we're coming down to the white flag.
1 lap to go. Whose strategy is going to pay off right now? Pratt looks like a genius taking those tires early, but another good chunk of time taken out that time by McMeekin. Can he get close enough on this lap in 3 and 4 to make one final charge? You see the lead right there. Which lane is each driver going to take? Pratt goes to the favorite high side. McMeekin down low, sends it into 3 and 4. Just can't get to the back bumper out of 4. Pratt, your winner at Chicagoland.
I mean, I don't think, that was executed about as good as you can there, and a great victory by Michael Pratt. Matthew McMeekin coming in second. Dalton Kilrow does make it back up to Pete, number 3, after leading a bunch of laps here at Chicago. Then Todd Poston in 4th, Billy Van Meter back in 5th, Metford in 6th, Gordon Larson in 7th, Eric Blount, John Garrett, Len McNeese, Tim Williams, Ryan Allen, Mike Rideout, DJ Mitchell, Chris Moreland, Joshua Divers finished in 16th, Ray Radford in 17th, and Mike Taylor in 18th, Ty Marasco in 19th, Hilton Young in that 38 back there in 20th, Chris Schuessler in 21st, and Robert Smith in 22nd, Kay Green in 23rd, and Joseph Grijalva back there in P number 24, having some early race debacles, or challenges, I should say, parking that car for the night.
And waiting here for Pratt to do a burnout. If he's still got any fuel left in that car, I'm sure he made that as light and as close as possible, because he knew he needed to save every little bit, but now he is going to burn it down here. The man from Michigan gets a somewhat of a local win here at Chicagoland, and what a race it was. I mean, he again made a different call from everybody else in the field. I mean, everybody took tires on the last pit stop. He didn't have any left because he took his tires the previous pit stop, and it was the right call to get the win. just barely, but it doesn't matter on the scoreboard if it's by a tenth of a second or if it's by 30 seconds. You get the win. You get to speak to us here in the booth, and I mean, really, Jimmy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's like the biggest prize of them all, right? Coming up here, giving us, sitting down with us and enjoying a little bit of conversation with each of these drivers. But no, they each, like, see Barry out there saying he had good finish, and these drivers put on a great race. So, I mean, it's out there. I mean, everybody that's watching right now, you know, it's the fans out here, and that's why these drivers do this. Well, they like to do it. Obviously, it's their hobby, and you know, they enjoy it. They have fun. They celebrate on a virtual racetrack, and just because of the hard work that they put in, you know, the good decisions they made, everything like that, and it all comes down to it. And you know, whether you only get one win, you know, a year, or you win every race, and you know, it's just gives you that rush. But congratulations to all the drivers out there. We'll get to talk to the drivers, as hopefully they'll meet us up here in the waiting room.
Yeah, trying to round them up right now. I think the waiting room, unfortunately, is still locked for these guys. So we got to get that straightened out here. But it's like we got two of them here, just waiting for the man that really matters here tonight. Michael Pratt here, trying to find him. But we can go ahead and start with our interviews and start with our third place here before we get going with everybody else here. But I mean, we will bring him in right now, and that is going to be the driver of the 41 and your third place finish here tonight for Dalton Kilroe. And Dalton, he led a bunch of laps again. Unfortunately, it's the first time this season where the lap leader does not come home with the win. But you had a different strategy, just like Michael Pratt did at the front, as you decided to come in very late on lap 102 and made one heck of a charge through the field there at the end. And I'm assuming that's because you were kind of put behind the 8 ball with the caution coming out and putting you to the lucky dog halfway through the race.
Yeah, that definitely didn't help. But I just hated it. I needed a couple more laps, damn it. And you know, I would have maybe been a little bit more of a factor, but I think I just waited a little bit too long to pit. I probably should have pit a couple laps sooner. But it's what it is. I mean, I know I had some pretty good speed tonight, and you know, didn't really have any issues. So I'm just glad to come home third and you know, show what I can do a little bit.
So it seemed like the car was getting maybe a little bit tight for some of the guys out there and pushing, especially coming out of turn number 4. I seen you had your little excursions out there as well. Was that the case? Was it just pushing a little bit too hard, or was the track kind of evolving and getting a little bit pushy for these cars?
I think it was a bit more of I think it was just more tire wear. I don't really feel like I was pushing too hard, because I know I had some really good long run speed tonight. Yeah, it was pushing tight out of the corner, but I think most of my excursions were just me having, you know, 50, 60 laps on my tires and still trying to keep up. So, you know, hey, tire wear was definitely something I should have been on top of a little better. But hey, it's what it is.
Well, I mean, third place is certainly not a bad finish here tonight, and you know, a couple of issues for some of the guys here, just some spinning here, but nothing too crazy, and really just kind of one of the bigger incidents at the beginning of the race, damaging the 10 machine. But you guys kept it pretty clean and green for a majority of the race, and I'm sure that that's a nice welcoming sight there in the second half. But I mean, what were you feeling halfway through the race? I mean, you got the lucky dog. You were one of the first ones in the pits there because you know, you're on a different strategy there. But you get the lucky dog. You feel like you're kind of back in a little bit, but you're starting. I think you were back there in 19th position. So, you know, what were your thoughts at that point? Did you still feel like you had a chance?
Yeah, I still felt like I had a chance. I mean, I know during that caution, that's when I just tried to merge two words together that didn't need to be merged. I tried to. they tried to. That's when the strategies got split. Because I think it was the 77. Him and a couple others took tires there, and then they took their second set there under green before taking gas on the final one. I knew because some of those guys didn't take tires and they were in the same situation as me that it could have gotten a little bit dicey. Some guys maybe a little too aggressive on the new tires, trying to get around old tires. So I was just kind of anticipating having to get on the brakes if I needed to. Thankfully, nobody really screwed that up. So it was just kind of managing what I still had and knew there was still a long way to go and not to throw a good chance away.
Well, either way, it was a good fight back here, and you led a bunch of laps again. You showed that you guys over there at MFRD are certainly ones to beat out here. I mean, you guys are leading laps every race. It seemed like it was a little bit rough for the team here tonight. I know Marasco was up there with you guys for a little bit. Larson was up there, but either way, you guys still cracked through and finished with some good results here at Chicagoland. Looking at next week as we are going to head to Texas. Actually, I'm sorry, Phoenix. As that one pops back on the schedule. A little bit flatter of a track there, a little bit, kind of like Milwaukee in the flatness. How do you feel about Phoenix coming back?
I mean, personally, I don't really like Phoenix that well. I've just never done too well at that track. But I know we did when we were originally going to have Phoenix, and then I think that was when the Season 2 patch came out where they put out the rain and everything. So I think some people were having connection issues. That's why we postponed it. But during the little fun race we did there, I had some pretty good speed. So I'll just be looking to try to at least capitalize on that again next week. And hopefully I can keep the good runs going.
Since Phoenix was canceled because of rain, maybe Tim will do you guys a favor and add that during Phoenix.
Hey, I mean, it is what it is. I ain't gonna complain if we got a red flag at 2 hours, but no.
I mean, I did see some guys running an 87 race, I think, at Daytona in the rain. I don't think you guys want to do that at Phoenix, but
maybe not.
But either way, a good run here tonight again, and should be enough to grab you the points lead as your teammate not in attendance here tonight with Paulson not being here. But congrats on the podium here once again. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to before we let you go?
Well, you already kind of talked about them, but I got to thank MF Racing Designs and the rest of MFRD. Larson's actually not on MFRD. Just he's not with us. It's just myself, Marasco, Paulson, and Dees. Which hope they're enjoying with their little their foofy drinks. I know what they know what I'm talking about. Because I think Brian's getting ready to go on a cruise for next week, so he's going to be having some fun. Gotta thank you guys obviously for doing the broadcast. Love going back and watching it. And gotta thank Gold Line Guardians, gotta thank Hilton Crafts and Design, and Fort Worth Screen Printing.
All right, well, once again, congratulations on your top 3. We'll see you next week at Phoenix and see if you can carry that speed from the little practice race into the actual race next week.
That's the plan. Thank you.
That's your third place finisher tonight, the 41 of Dalton Kilroe. We did have Matt McMeekin in here for a little bit, but it looks like it's kind of bouncing back and forth, so we may not have him, at least at this moment. So we'll just go ahead and switch right to our first place. And Jimmy, why don't you go ahead and take our winner here tonight, that being the 77 of Michael Pratt.
Hey, Mike, it's Jimmy and Carl out in the booth. Copy?
Yep. Let's try that one more time.
Hey, Mike, Jimmy and Carl in the booth. You copy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, man, I mean, you put together one heck of a run, made the decision for your pit stops, and had just enough tire tonight to finish in front of second place. So give us a little bit of rundown on how your race went for you, what you were thinking, and how that car was handling for you.
Well, I've noticed on the past couple races, I'm not going to give out my information, but I noticed on the past couple races I caught on to something, and these cars are different than the other ones, so there's certain things that you can do, certain things that you can't. My strategy was just try getting far forward as I possibly could. That's my strategy every time. I just start from the back. I was not anticipating winning tonight, that's for sure.
The anticipation, I mean, I guess gives you some great results there at the end, and I mean, you walk away with the winner here tonight, and you got a bunch of good drivers out there. So to just put your game plan into play definitely puts a perspective on some of the things. And if you're not on a team, maybe some people might be looking to recruit you a little bit and put some sponsorship on that number 77 and maybe see if they can get you to share your wealth. But right now it's working for that 77, and you walk away a winner here tonight. So from CRN, really want to say congratulations and give you that time to give that shout out to all your fans out there.
I want to say thank you to Pat and everybody who watches. I know I have a few people that are watching or did watch tonight. There's Ross or Daniel. Want to thank VVR for putting on a great show and letting me do this with you guys every week, and appreciate everything that you guys do.
Hey, no problem, Mike, and hopefully your plan comes into play next week and we get to talk to you again. But again, congratulations, and we'll let you go celebrate with your friends and family.
Heck yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
That is your winner here tonight, the 77 of Michael Pratt. Unfortunately, not able to talk to Matt McBeacon, so maybe we'll try and see if we can get him in for a pre-race interview next week to kind of pick his brain on that run to the end there and what he was thinking as he was slowly but surely running down that 77. Just not enough. Comes up 0.14 seconds shy of the win. But I'd say what, Jimmy, I said it about halfway through the race, and it's still true. I mean, you take a look at the top 8 right now, everybody up positions. I mean, Michael Pratt up 21, Matt McBeacon up 13, Kilrow up 8, Poston up 16. I mean, you go through the top 8, everybody's up positions. So forget qualifying. Qualifying doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, you heard Mike Pratt, say he's going to start in the back and work his way through the field, and sometimes that works for people. They like being back there. They like the challenge. They like coming through the field. And maybe his strategy will change when it comes to, maybe a shorter track where starting position takes a really big toll, and passing is, it's a lot more difficult. We just happened to be on a track here tonight where there was multiple lines to choose the race. So, starting in the back was not necessarily a bad thing. And as long as you know that you got good pit stops, and you got good race pace, and you can keep that car clean, you're going to have a good finish. And the 77 showed that here tonight, that, you can't start to the back. Make smart decisions with your make smart pit stop decisions, and you can put that run to your race pace, and you can win. So congratulations again to Mike Pratt, and obviously Matthew McMeekin for so close. And then number 29, finishing in second, and then obviously Dalton Kilrow. So you're top 3, but we can't forget the rest of the drivers, Carl. We had 24 drivers out here, and these races.
Guys racing out there, weren't there?
There was other people racing out there. And we want to.
It's tough when it's a heck of a finish like that, man. It's tough, but yeah, a lot of good battles all the way through the field here tonight. Yeah,
and it just just to kind of give everybody a shout out too, because without all the drivers on the track, VVR would not be what it is today. And I'm sure you're doing Tim doing Tim proud out there, putting on these great races. The cautions, they happen. Minor mistakes, the scrape of the wall, maybe a missed pit stop, whatever. All that stuff happens throughout. But right now, the field series tonight's results are Michael Pratt, obviously the winner, with Matthew McMeekin in second, Dalton Kilrose in third, Todd Poston was in fourth, Billy Van Meter in fifth, Brandon Mefford in sixth, Gordon Larson in seventh, Eric Blount in eighth, John Garrett in ninth, Len McNeese in 10th, Tim Williams in 11th, Ryan Allen in 12th, Mike Rideout in 13th, DJ Mitzel in 14th, Chris Moreland in 15th, Joshua Divers in 16th, Ray Radford in 17th, 18th was Mike Taylor, and then back in 19th was Ty Marasco, Hilton Young, Chris Schuler, Robert Smith, Cade Green, and Joseph Grijalva finish in that last spot. So all these races through the whole season so far have been great, and they've been super fun to watch, super fun to call, and look forward to next week.
Yeah, 4 different winners through the first 5 races. Dalton Kilrow, the only one to be able to double up, and he will regain the points lead tonight after Paulson, your points leader coming in, was not able to attend here tonight. Good showing from all the guys out here tonight, and it took a couple cautions just to kind of pick up the cobwebs. It sometimes does that, but they figured it out in the second half of the race. Went a nice long green flag run, and a few green flag pit stops was the determining factor here tonight, as Pratt definitely bingoed the strategy and brought it home for a nice, easy 14/10 of a second win. But that is going to do it for the boys here at CRN and all the drivers out here at VVR. I want to thank all the drivers out here for a great run, and thank our sponsors here tonight as well for the series, that being Gold Line Guardians, Fort Worth Screen Printing, and Hilton Crafts and Designs, and all the help that they've shown over here for the virtual velocity racing. Thank you to Tim Lee for bringing us on here and putting this thing on, and hopefully we'll see him out there in the field sooner than later. But for myself and Jimmy here at Chicagoland, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.